Our guest today, powerhouse in PR, it is Tresa Halbrooks, founder and president of Legacy Consulting.
My clients at Legacy are, athletes, media personalities. I've got artists. I've got, all kinds of different folks. A melting pot of clients that we work with that are usually high profile or luxury brands.
You talk about empowering yourself.
Music gave me confidence in being on stage, and fortunately I did have confidence. And so I was able to enter a building. Ironically, I knew nothing about football when they hired me.
And I like one of your lines, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right.
Welcome, Tresa, to the Second Cup of Joe and John. Joe, you know what I don't like? I don't like fake. I don't like people that used tanning beds. Did you ever do that?
Never. Did you? Yes.
I skipped rent. Instead, I paid my membership to... Anyway, I'm past that.
Suntan?
What I'm saying is honesty means everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're buying a vehicle. And that's why I purchased my GT Mustang from Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford has real deals, not fako bako. And you know what I mean by that? At Two Rivers Ford, the best price is clearly marked on their website or window sticker. And you don't need to fill out all these forms for information to get the best price. You don't need to do anything. And unlike other dealers, Joe, no fako bako, Two Rivers Ford never adds accessories or service plans in order for you to get the best deal. Honesty, the best policy at Two Rivers Ford.
And something for everyone. SUV, maybe it's a Mustang like John and I, or maybe you're going the E route, the Lightning, the Ford F-150. When you finance through Two Rivers, they will install that charger at your house.
You know what they don't have?
No fako bako, John.
No, you're not going to get a tanning bed there.
No. TwoRiversFord.com. You can see it in Mount Juliet live. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
It's the Second Cup of Joe and John with Joe Elvis and John Dwyer.
Joe! Hello, John. Here we go.
Your hair
live
looks
from
great.
The Jag
it's
Studio.
Not live, it's to tape. But your hair looks great.
The Jag.
Do you
I
use
just
product?
got it cut. No, I got
That's
it cut.
good.
I had the 5.0 with the top down coming up here. So I've got the,
the windblown.
The 80 look.
Oh, it looks good.
Hair at 80 mile an hour, which will lead me to my little point here next. Have you scraped lately? Oh, I'm heartbroken.
There was ointment for that, but no, I actually, I know what you're talking about, and if you're a guy, and maybe our guest would go, don't just paint, don't say guys care about this.
We're going to ask her definitely this question.
You got black rims.
I've got black rims, and I pulled in, and I'm across the street here from the International Jobs for America Graduate Studio. Lipstick Lounge, we've talked about them a lot. Chapstick, the new bar behind them. And so there's this kind of segue of parking around the Holly Street Daycare Center. So I kind of fish for what's open, and they've rebuilt it, and I cut it in, bam. And I mean, it's worse than chalkboard on tape. It's a little scratch. And of course I blame it all on my wife. Every one of them.
My wife's car looks. It's been through. It's been through some. It's great. And you know what though? I can't laugh. I really can't because she has not in my time
admitted to it.
No, has ever had an accident. I'm the one that's playing demolition derby. So I don't have any room to talk. But what I do is I take black either Sharpie or fingernail polish.
Both work great.
And then I do have a guy that I actually met behind a Mexican restaurant to help. That sounds awful.
That's good.
Let me finish the point.
That's how we got our jobs, I think.
But it's a guy that works on the wheels and can buff them out. So, boy, did I not set that up right. Can we move on? Is that okay? Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, we know people. Let's take a spin through Joe and John's Rolodex.
Joe, it stops on H. Our guest today, powerhouse in PR, it is Tresa Halbrooks, founder and president of Legacy Consulting. She is a branding and event strategy expert. Background in high-profile entertainment and sports, more than a decade of experience. Thrilled to have her raise millions for local philanthropy. I should have said charities. I can't even see philanthropy. Welcome, Tresa to the Second Cup of Joe. And John.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, God.
I had one job, to turn up the frickin' mic. Anyway, aren't you glad you came?
A minute and a half into the first quarter. Flag.
4 turnovers.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll ask you right out of the bat. Ever scraped them, Tresa?
Yes.
Pulled in a little too tight?
Today.
My driveway in Franklin it's a ridiculous slope. And I bought this house sight unseen. I had my real estate. I was out of town. I had my real estate person. It was kind of,
She's got people.
At a time when you better make an offer or you ain't going to get it.
That's true.
So my real estate person walked through, had me on video. But what I didn't know is that there's a ridiculous slope on the driveway. And so my car works. But if I'd had any other car, I have an SUV, so it works to come up. Any other car would have just scraped going up or down. It would have been a nightmare. So little things you don't think about when you buy a house and you hadn't seen it.
She's kind of a big deal. Lives on a hill in Williamson County. It's a heated driveway. Bought it sight unseen. Got people to do that. Sure. We go, way back and to the Titans days. Community relations. You did so much for this franchise that and for the people and the exposure. So that's our background. But now fast forward to this company. Why did you walk away and how did you create a business for yourself? Because that's impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I'll give you just kind of a very quick little journey. I've been in Nashville since, I'm going to age myself here.
Go ahead.
And now you're on camera, so it's like, oh gosh. Since 95. And so I moved here in 1995, right out of college. With
New Mexico girl.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that, Joe?
New Mexico State.
Correct. We're not known for anything really in New Mexico for football or, there's no sports related in the New Mexico area. There is sports, but not that anybody talks about. So, anyway, I moved here for music. So, moved here to be a singer-songwriter like so many do.
So where do you wait tables?
And I didn't, but I immediately, which is part of the problem, I immediately got a job in the advertising world. And so to have a 9-to-5 job and then to go out to the bars for writers' nights and stay, you'll be on at midnight to sing your 2 songs that you've written. And, smoking was allowed in the bars at that time. So you get up the next morning with, smoky hair and kind of.
That's why Joe has the voice.
That's why I still look like the way I look.
Yeah. Trying to be a professional and live a double life at that point was like, it didn't take me long to realize that's not really what I wanted to do. I have stories on stories as to why, but beyond that, from working at that ad agency, then I went to work for a company called Service Merchandise. So if you've been here in Nashville for that long, that allowed me to raise money. I got my feet wet in the philanthropy world of corporate fundraising, and they were doing it before anybody else was doing it back in the day. And so as a young, mid-20s, I was raising funds, and they put us on a plane and said, y'all have raised enough money to go to CBS television in Hollywood. We're going to put you on the Jerry Lewis Labor Day Telethon and let you, Tresa, and your chairman of the board, Raymond Zimmerman, the 2 of y'all are going to present the check to Jerry Lewis and Ed McMahon. So that gave me my introduction to community relations, philanthropy, raising money, but also doing it from a corporate standpoint. Not necessarily that you have to work for a nonprofit, but that you can make a difference in a lot of different things that you do.
Sweet.
Didn't we always watch the telethon? Wasn't that?
That was
God,
good.
that was a point.
It was a big deal.
I watched her. We watched you to do that. We didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. I worked at Service Merchandise.
Did you really?
Did I tell you that I worked for Conway?
It went out of business. You guys both took it out. You took a major company,
took it down,
and took it down.
I didn't work that long. Did I tell you I worked for Conway Twitty ever? Yeah. So I did that in the summer, and one winter they needed help for the Christmas push. And I don't know why I did it, but it was the one up at the Rivergate location. And I'm hanging around, I don't know, whatever kind of the jewelry watch department, it's Service Merchandise. It was one of the, I don't want to use the word K. Well, it's kind of Kmart-ish meets Target, where everything's all together. And, you're in one section and the other. And I had no idea what I was doing. But the Zimmerman family, there was what, 3, 4 service merchandise stores, perhaps, and the things. That was a big deal. But it did go out of business for our locals.
It did. It went out of business, and I worked at the corporate headquarters doing philanthropy through the 300 and some odd stores.
300 stores. Wow.
I actually shot an in-house video for them talking about customer service.
HR.
And I did it a day before I got on the flight with the Titans-Cowboys preseason game. And I still have that video. I've put some snippets on there. It's we all three
have service merchandise.
I was in a video for customer service. If I'm in that video, that will make me laugh. That's hilarious.
We haven't aged a bit. All right, legacy consulting. What's that mean?
Well,
that's what you do. That's your company.
Yeah. So to get there, I'll keep going on the journey to get to that end result. But then I went to work for Gaylord Entertainment, which is the entertainment and hospitality side. And then I went to work for the Tennessee Titans. So I spent 11 years with the Titans organization, which is where John and I met, and handled community and player relations. So if you needed a Titans player to do anything in the community, then you would come to our department and we would work out the details and all of that. So spent 11 years there. And then started my company, Legacy Consulting, PR, and Events, in 2012. And I took the leap. It's almost like, gosh, is there enough water in the pool if you jump off that diving board? And
you don't know what you don't know. So you
correct. God is good. Here's what I'll say. God is good. And there was enough water. And the irony to that is one of my first clients was one of the Titans' largest sponsors. So, I jumped, and it was just literally, I looked at a fresh face from Belmont, an intern, and there was just calls coming in and people coming in. And I said, please understand that I'm recognizing, and I don't want you to think that starting a business is this easy. It is so not. But 11 years and the blessings that I've had working for the Tennessee Titans has allowed me to have these kind of relationships. And this is absurd. Like the way that I was able to connect so easily and so fast, I recognize as just truly a blessing. And it's been an incredible ride ever since.
Sweet.
Common sense would tell you not to look to Joe and John for this, but time for life lessons from Joe and John.
So back to that Titans era. Press, public, all the good stuff. A lot of arrests going on during that time. Give me a good arrest story. Were you in the Pac-Man era?
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. I mean, what a crazy
statute of limitations are over too.
Well,
you don't tell stories, but it has to be.
Oh, I have stories.
It's that the beepers going off. That was a long time ago. Or the call, and it's at 2:00. Hey, Tresa, Pac's in jail.
Yeah.
Drugs, gun.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Making it rain.
Here we go.
Yeah. All the things. So, and I think back on the time with, I call them my guys, like, I was really
name drop. Go ahead.
Well, I was really that big sister to them. Mm-hmm. And at the time was probably the only female that had player interaction. There were certainly females in the office, but they would be accounting or somewhere else. But day to day, my job was working with the guys, and they were great. I will tell you, the players, these were the days when they were Titans. So the Eddie George, Kevin Carter, Javon Curse, Frank Wycheck, it was Kevin Dyson, Blaine Bishop, all of those guys.
Al Del Greco.
They were all amazing. Yes, I was there during what we call crisis management, and there would be times where, Robbie Boren, who Titans PR, would be dealing with some stuff, but then it would trickle over to us, especially when we would have a hospital or school visit and have somebody lined up that, misbehaved over the weekend, and I have to now cancel the school visit. You can't really go into a school and talk about good character when you just got arrested for doing something. So I'd have to replace them and, figure out, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And my best advice to Pac-Man or anybody else that would fall into that category, was stay home and shut up. But that's really all I needed them to do is, I don't need you to be in the community. I've got plenty of other guys that just rise to the top and they want to be active. They want to be those guys making a difference. And all I need you to do is not distract from what they're doing. just please stay home, take care of what you need to take care of, and don't make silly comments. Don't get in the press. Just stay home. Do nothing.
This was before or right at the beginning of social media. So thankfully, you did not have to navigate those because that's unfiltered. These players, can you imagine? Could you have done and tolerate what's available today? That'd drive you nuts, wouldn't it?
Well, the word is tolerate, right? The word is like heart palpitations and the stress level and blood pressure and all that. But I still deal with it because, my clients at Legacy are, athletes, media personalities. I've got artists. I've got, all kinds of different folks. We have a melting pot of clients that we work with that are usually high profile or luxury brands. And so I still deal with it when social media is quicker than the media these days. And those stories don't always line up. What you're seeing on social media is not what the news is telling you. Then it becomes, a matter of discernment of what is really happening. And you have to control the story. But no, it makes it so much harder. But social media has some transparency there. So my advice to folks that are, if I was doing my job today, it would just be honest, get in front of the story. And people are usually fairly forgiving when you can just get to the core of it. But if you start to spin them, they're not going to want to do it. They're not going to believe you if you're just spinning them and working them. And a lot of people think PR is a spin doctor. It can be in some cases, but transparency and authenticity matter.
I did not have sex with that woman.
Right.
Please.
That's right.
Let's talk about your focus. Just some of the things that surround. And I did read through TresaHalbrooks.com. You had a great website.
Thank you.
John had his Dwyer Wire one back in there. You shouldn't have let that one get away. That was
halfway
good.
to Pluto now, and I don't have any record of it.
But you talk about empowering yourself, and a lot of it comes from. Were you an insecure person? Did you not have a lot of confidence, probably that you have right now, growing up?
No. With music gave me confidence in being on stage. And I think part of some of the articles that you read, I come across my young interns that work with me that aren't necessarily comfortable in their own skin, this younger generation. So I like to write articles and talk to them a lot about owning who they are. And for me, fortunately I did have confidence. And so I was able to enter a building. Ironically, I knew nothing about football when they hired me.
Nothing.
Nothing. No. I remember walking in the door. I was hired and started my first day on the job, April Fool's Day, 2001. And they had made a controversial hire on that day as well. And it was his first day in the office. And they kind of said, in my ear, okay, well, you're about to meet one of our, new guys who's sort of a problem child. We got him from St. Louis and we'll see how this goes. And his name was Kevin Carter. So that was said to me. So we both started on the same day. And so I stood there in the hallway and I was introduced to Kevin and I shook his hand. His hand came up to like my elbow. And I didn't really have any interest in football. I wasn't a fan. I didn't care. And all of that worked to my advantage because the fact that I didn't care and I didn't know who they were, we're all on the same playing field. No pun. We were all, I'm sorry, yeah. What's your name?
See how she did that?
Yeah. What's your name? Eddie. Eddie, what's your last name? I'm going to need a last name so I know who you are.
That's 2 first names, sir.
Right.
Are you the one that voted for Charles Woodson instead of Manning? That's going to be a problem.
I didn't know who they were. So
well, that's fine, but that's good. Yeah. You have an outside the picture set of eyes that it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because are you telling me those guys aren't caught up in themselves and their own egos? I mean, like they're going to portray what they want to you, and it takes someone outside the picture to say, hey, that's not really what people are saying about you.
Well, it also built the relationship. For me, when I didn't believe any of the hype, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know one stat about you. I don't care, but you better be on time to that hospital visit or I'm going to kick your butt. Right. So it was those relationships that I was able to build. And so walking into that environment, we started this with confidence. Walking into that environment, I had, music background and being on stage. But what I will tell you is the 11 years I spent in the NFL were so phenomenal in what they taught me in how I conduct business today and what I think so many young people are missing. It's a constant conversation I have with the young people that come into my office. It's really called a sports-minded philosophy. And if we would treat our own jobs the way that these athletes treated theirs, yes, there's a pay gap, but I mean, don't you want to be the MVP of your boardroom? Don't you want to be the MVP on your own team? They worked day in and day out to strive to be the best. And these young folks that come into my office, it's just like, well, status quo is okay. No, you don't go to the Super Bowl and everyone gets a participation award and thank you for coming. It doesn't work that way. It is, you have to truly be the best. And I remember having a conversation with a shy young woman that was interning. And when I told her that they showed the mistakes, people don't tell me my mistake. That hurts my feelings. Oh my gosh. And so I said, well, let me tell you, in the NFL, they not only show your mistakes, they show it in front of the whole team, all of your team members. They rewind it 14 times. They point it out, and then they slap you around a little bit. And like, you'd better not do that next Sunday. And her comment was, you mean they actually show the mistakes that you made? I said, yes. Doesn't that hurt their feelings? I said, it's a good thing the NFL isn't in the feelings business.
Wow. Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Pew, 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 pew.
We're going to go back to what Tresa has done, all the philanthropy, great work. But we're going to do this. Quick questions, quick answers. You don't know what we're going to ask. Go ahead, Joe.
What is your karaoke go-to song?
Good question. I would probably say I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. If you're going to ask me to sing it, that's a different story. But
well, do you want to?
You have half a
No.
voice. You do. Anyway.
I will tell you a story. I know it's supposed to be rapid fire, but I'll tell you a story.
We don't.
Okay.
We don't.
So
Kidding me.
one of our buddies that both John and I mean, we could talk much longer than the podcast, but I became really good friends with Kevin Carter and his wife,
The troublemaker,
who was hilariously
Not
One of the best guys ever.
Still,
he's been a guest on our show.
Still,
He's
by the way.
terrific.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Still to this day, he's still a client. I just got through texting him about, hey, car arrangements for a charity golf tournament that he's going to. Hey, what are we doing? Raising money, doing things. And so he's in New York at CBS Studios, and I can circle back around that as to part of his mentorship. But we were out at the ACM Awards in Las Vegas, and they had karaoke. Wrong event to have karaoke at was an ACM pre-party, because you've got all of your professional singers that are out there. I think it was on a beachside at the Mirage or wherever it was. And so this was one of their pre-parties with all the music industry people, Academy of Country Music Awards, and they had this karaoke party. And it's like, who in the industry is going to get up and sing karaoke? It was just absurd, like wrong planning, wrong thing. And so they were having a hard time getting anyone up there. So Stormy Warren was up there and like begging for someone to get up.
I thought he was begging to sing, but
no, begging for someone to get up there to sing. And so Kevin looks at me and and he was there to present. Kevin, Eddie, they were there to be presenters on the award show. And so he looks at me and he walks up on stage. And at this point, the crowd just completely hushes because they believe that Kevin is taking the mic to actually sing. So that you could hear a pin drop. So he turns around and he says, I'm not singing, so you can just...
There's the bus. I'm throwing tea under it.
So he introduces me and I get up there and sing, and I sing I Will Survive.
Nice. How'd it go?
It was great.
All right.
It was great.
No record contract. But
no.
Other than being called Tresa or Teresa, you are Teresa or, T. Give me a pet peeve.
Oh. One pet peeve. I got to narrow it down.
I could see the wheels spinning.
Oh, gosh. One pet peeve. Unprepared. I don't like, the people that are unprepared for things. That's important. So.
Is there something in your industry that everybody should stop or start doing?
Be prepared.
Yeah, they should start wanting to be the MVP of their own work.
So
care more about what you do.
Book on your nightstand. What are you reading, or audiobooks? What you get? Have you digested anything?
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I have been listening. I love Alan Jackson Ministries, it's World Outreach Church out of Murfreesboro. His podcast, Culture and Christianity, is amazing. Great topics, great people, and brings Bible-based faith into some political conversations, and it's really good food for the soul.
When did God come into your life?
As a kid, I was about 6 years old. And gave my life to Christ and was baptized on Easter Sunday. And God has a great sense of humor. Let me tell you, for somebody who could have cared less about football, and if you want that story, I'll make it quick.
We're not going anywhere.
The long story.
Chase, you going anywhere? Chase, our producer. Okay.
I was in college in New Mexico, and I married a college athlete.
I forgot you.
I don't talk about it that much. Yeah, I don't talk about it much, unless I'm in a particular situation. But so I married a college athlete who had an injury, and it was an abusive relationship, and so got out of that. A year and a half of that, and talk about no tolerance. It's like I just got out of it, and I moved to Nashville and continued life. And I remember when I left, I almost left like a thief in the night in order to be safe about it. It was not a situation that you could have a civil discussion and leave. So I left, packed up the house. I had my family with me, my mom, my stepdad, my brother, U-Haul. We just got out of there while he didn't know we were doing it. And I remember shutting down my life in that town in one day. I was, by noon I was gone and quit my job, transferred schools, left my life behind. And I said to my mom, I said, you know what, Mom? I'll never, as long as I live, have anything to do with another athlete. Never. And so here we are, not long after that, God reconciled that for me. And one of the most special relationships and friendships is Kevin, who's still a client. Kevin and his wife Shima are amazing people. And John and I worked on a charity event that started, 20-something years ago, called Waiting for Wishes Celebrity Waiters Dinner. Sure. That was at the Palm
Restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had celebrities from all over the country that flew in and, waited tables and raised money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and Kevin Carter Foundation. And it was just such a special, special event. And John was there all 20 years. I had to miss 1 year because of the lockout. You gotta be kidding me.
God, I don't even remember that.
2010. I had to miss. I helped plan the whole thing and then said, good luck. And I couldn't go because the league was like, no, you can't have any interaction. I'm like,
apparently you don't have any bitterness about it. You've let it go.
Not at all. Right.
Final question from me, a dinner party, dead or alive, anybody in history, world history, 2 or 3 guests that you would invite?
Oh, yeah. So my first one would be Elvis Presley. Sorry, that's just, he's one of the most amazing talents ever to live and still influences our music culture today. There's just something about him, man. So Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe. I used to say I'd love to wake up as Marilyn Monroe and go to bed as Priscilla Presley. Like that would be a 24-hour
There you go.
extravaganza. And I'll let you know if blondes have more fun. I don't know.
Nashville. My final question, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self now?
Someone is going to be successful. It might as well be you. And that's really, I didn't come from a special background or Ivy League school. I went to New Mexico State and moved here and, clawed my way to where I wanted to be. I have sort of a scrapper attitude. It's just, you got to work hard. It's about grit, tenacity, and, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Welcome to life.
Love that.
Welcome to life.
Magic dust.
Welcome to life. When you're talking about the life of buying that new car, which we have talked about a lot because you just went through it with your 2025 Two Rivers Ford, the selection that they have at Two Rivers Ford, maybe it's a car, maybe it's an SUV, maybe the big F-150 or the Mustangs, which John and I dearly love. The difference at Two Rivers Ford is that the price is clearly marked on their window. The price you see on their website is the price that you're going to get. Family run and family owned since the 80s. John Barker's Jr.'s out there now that you met, and Jay Seiling is the sales manager. John, you bought the car from
Ethan, his son.
His son. Family run, family owned. That's the difference, is they cut through the crap that
Can
you'll
we
get
say
at
that,
any other dealership.
Jace, during a read? Okay.
It's a good one.
Nice, yeah. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Joe and John have come to the fork in the road.
Really, Joe? You had to say the C word. T.
Man, this is we've been really good.
There's some forks. Is there a moment? Could have been early. Could have been 5 years ago that a job or something you didn't take. I know the marriage thing, which you revealed was a fork, but anything?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was leaving. They were doing layoffs at Gaylord. Gaylord Entertainment Corporate was doing some layoffs, and so I was in the interview process with the Titans, but I had a job offer from the Nashville Public Library, and they had the rendering of the brand new library that was going to be built. It's now gorgeous downtown. Can you come on board and be our executive director for the Nashville Public Library? And I was 29 years old.
Safe job.
That's a big deal.
And so I was leaving Gaylord, and it was kind of like, okay, this was a solid job offer, had everything lined out, and they needed to know. And I was in the interview process with the Titans. And what's funny is they had like 14 million interviews. Like you would think I was the head coach at that point. Like I can't even think about how many interviews I went through with that. But I was sort of towards the end of that interview process, and I needed to give the library an answer. And I remember having this conversation with my family, and my mom just looked at me and she said, somehow I just don't see you as a librarian. And I'm like,
I mean, you could wear the glasses and the hair up and all that.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Right. I could play the part, but is that where I belonged? And so I turned again, and I'm unemployed because I was, they had laid off Gaylord staff. And so I thought, you know what, the right place for me, that next appropriate step would be to move from the entertainment side to the sports side. And that was the journey I wanted. And I didn't want to take a job and then 2 months later leave them. That wouldn't be fair to them. So I turned it down. It was, it was a great offer, and it was better off than the Titans ultimately gave me. But it's not shocking, but it wouldn't have built the career that allowed me to be where I am today. And so that fork in the road of saying no to something that would have easily been yes for security that was a fork.
Well, congratulations. Folks can see your work at legacy-pr.com. And I like one of your lines, if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right.
So your storyline is that of motivation, positive reinforcement, and to move forward. It's all about the comeback, even if things haven't worked out in your life. Maybe talk about, there was a book that came out today, I Am the Person I Want to Be. And it just empowers women in leadership and business. Right. What was that? What was all that about?
So that was a book that was published. I was one of the participants that wrote for that book, and it was women who had survived a domestic violence situation, and it was published by the YWCA of Nashville, and many years ago under Pat Shea. Pat was, the executive director of the YWCA, and she asked me to be part of that, and it was an honor to do that and be part of that book. So yeah, it really is about just knowing that you're the only one that's going to treat yourself. If you don't expect yourself, if you don't expect more for yourself, nobody else will. And so, it was certainly a privilege to be part of that book.
Nice.
You gotta wear shades.
So with all that great positive reinforcement now, with all these great leadership stories, where do you go from here? You're about to turn 30. And so what will you do with the rest of your life? You've got mentoring seems to be a big part. You like to talk to the new people. My boys are 25 and 23, and I'm trying not to be the overing mentor of how do you mold that with still grow yourself as what you want to do in life? Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Yeah, I think it falls more into the consulting side. Of course, I put those 3 facets in the name, so you knew that I did consulting, PR, and events. And so, it's in the title. So it's moving over into the consulting side. And speaking of books, everyone's writing a book, aren't they? Oh, I'm writing a book.
Or having a podcast.
Right. And
World needs another podcast, T. You know that.
Correct.
On YouTube.
Exactly.
Hello, YouTube. Thank you for watching.
Comments, questions, anything, put it here. Guest ideas. Let you know what you think of T. You know?
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Writing a book would probably be next. And then maybe doing some guest speaking and things of that nature. But that long term, that would be kind of maybe the right progression.
We're going to wrap this up because there's so many stories, but there's one in particular, a fashion faux pas, maybe first game, Adelphia Coliseum, August. To me, the first game was the preseason game, but some people think of the Cincinnati Bengals opener where Steve got booed and I got ripped because I ripped fans for booing him because it wasn't his fault. Anyway, I've gotten over that, T. What's that story about?
Yeah.
Is it clean? Can we tell
it is.
Okay.
It is. Well, and it's just, it is clean. I have other stories, but no, this one's a clean one.
Should we do a Chase Akers of Dead Like Me? Should we do like an after, like a more to see more of this podcast, and we could go into kind of a night version of. I'm just
After
kidding.
dark.
No,
She's about to freak out. She's like,
I
did
have
not sign up
stories
for that.
you'll never hear anywhere else because it's the perspective of the female in the room. Like I have a female in the room then and now.
Quick side note.
Side note of the side note.
I'm with Brent Doherty, who was at 1510 LAC. I was at the Rock at that time doing afternoons, and Brent was going down there to get some actualities in the locker room. I go in there, and I meet Dawn Davenport for the first time. Dawn, a guest on this show, and Dawn working with John's team at the time. So we go trucking in there. I'd never been in Titans facility, so we're right in the locker room. It's right after practice. And as you said, the size of, say, Kevin Carter. These are large dudes. And as Dawn would make her way around at 5'3" with the microphone, all the towels come off, and so the shot that you see on air is from the chest up. And here's little poor Dawn. I said, Dawn, I'm sorry, these freaking idiots, and they do it on purpose.
They do.
And so she was like, it doesn't bother me a bit. They're all idiots.
God bless her.
And she was just great, but I thought, man,
there's laws against this now. I mean, you can't.
It's kind of their attitude is you don't want to be in here, then don't come in here. And that got changed. That actually became a big deal over time.
Yeah.
But she was in the pre-days of that, but she handled it great, and she did her job wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I watched it back on the news that night just to see how do you get a story out of this, and it was terrific.
Yeah. Well, God bless her for being in the locker room. I mean, there was certainly a few female reporters that just did not care. They were in there to do their job.
Don't flatter yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Get over
so
it.
I was never in the locker room. I didn't need to talk to a player that bad, or I would send somebody on my staff. So my philosophy was I would meet him at lunch and usually try to get them after they had something to eat and felt in a better mood. They were refreshed, they were hydrated, and now I'm going to talk to you. And if I really wanted them to do something and I thought I might get a no, I would wait till they leave the building. And then I would call the home phone. If they left at 5, I would, they're not going to be home by this time. So I'll call at 5:15. The wife would answer, and I'd say, "Oh, I didn't know if he was home yet, but we really need him to do a hospital visit." "Oh, we're there. He's going to do that." So
Works the wife.
There was a philosophy behind all of that. But you asked me about the fashion faux pas.
Yeah, we went way
Yeah,
off
that's
the
okay.
side.
That's all right.
Where were we?
No, you asked me about the fashion faux
I
pas.
knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
This is-
And just, learning, we could do an after, but learning the game. I remember my first day, it was like, okay, wait, let me get this straight. You got 4 chances to make it 10 yards. Like, well, yeah, but it's not called a chance. So, we're going to give you a book. So I had to learn the game of football, learn the rules and,
Sports.
Right. And, and so I would say to my 18-year-old self, learn how to play golf. Wish I knew how to do that. Learn how to play golf and learn sports, because you can have any dialogue with In any social setting, you'll be the most popular girl in the room. If you can talk sports and you play golf, you got it made. You will network till the end of time. And so I wish that's what I would say at 18. Like, you should learn these things.
That's good.
So it took me, I spent my 30s at the Titans. And so at that point, I was out on the field. It was when I say first game, I'm going to say maybe the home opener. We were playing the Miami Dolphins. And so I was out there. These guys are so funny with superstition and all the things. And you got guys that start with a pair of socks at the beginning of the season and they wear the same stinking socks until the end. Like, it's just all kinds of interesting stuff. So you're on, my job was to be on the field pregame. It was lots of pregame activity. We would present a check. We would do different things. I would host charity groups, host different guests on the field, or a Make-A-Wish kid, or, something like that. So my first season, and the home opener was the Miami Dolphins. And I didn't think about what I'm wearing on the field makes any flipping difference of anything.
Oh, here we go.
So I have this peach, this peach shirt and a black, pantsuit and a peach shirt, and then I have this big turquoise necklace from New Mexico.
And dolphin earrings, perhaps?
Well, the guys start, walking by me and hissing at me. They start hissing at me. Yeah. And it was like, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong with you? And then they call out, the Miami Dolphins. They come out, and I'm looking at their colors, and I'm like,
here we go.
But it happened to me for years. Like, I would have, in the winter, it'd be like, oh my gosh, it's cold. Oh, I've got that new leopard coat. I'm wearing that leopard coat.
Oh, for the Jaguars game.
No, I'm dead serious. And we would play the Jaguars. So it happened to me enough that I went to...
She dressed as a Minuteman when they played the Patriots. It's weird how this whole thing...
What a coincidence.
It was constant. It was constant.
Constantly on purpose.
But I mean, I was making these mistakes. So I said to my assistant, give me a color chart. I need a color chart of what I need to stay away from. So he did. Here's the color chart. Here's what it is. And so then for the longest time, I just got tired of looking at it. So all of the photos pregame, a lot of them I'm wearing solid pink, because I'm pretty sure they didn't have the Pink Panthers. So either solid pink or solid black. And it was like, I had to deliberately figure out what I'm wearing to the game. And it just hilarious. And then another, I'm going to keep on with stories.
No. Yeah.
Another fun story of not knowing who any of these guys are. I got a message with this same assistant. I got a voicemail message that could not really understand him. He was kind of... talking fast and leaving me this message, and
it wasn't Jeff Fisher.
No, I've got a charity event.
When you called to play, we're doing the work.
Where are you, Tresa?
But he was calling. I looked at where the call was coming from. It was San Francisco. I need an Eddie George jersey. I've got a charity event. Call me back. Here's my number. Jeremy Rice. So I went in there.
Jerry Rice?
So I went in there to my assistant. I said, who's this guy, Jeremy Rice?
Jeremy.
Who's acting like he needs...
Important.
Who's this guy that's demanding an Eddie George jersey for his charity event? And so he looked at me and goes, what number is it? And so I said, it's from San Francisco or somewhere. I don't know, California. He's like, Jeremy Rice or Jerry Rice? I said, what difference does it make? He said, a lot.
Yep.
A lot of difference. So it was Jerry Rice, and we sent him a jersey for his charity event. But I'm like, who is this guy? Like, what, I knew nothing.
For a woman that preaches being prepared.
Yes. Well, yeah.
The irony there is...
I had to learn on the job. There's so many stories of learning on the job.
You did so well. You did so much for so many. You raised millions of dollars. You did more for that organization when they were running lean. I applaud you for what you did, the way you handled yourself in sometimes very dire circumstances. You never let them see you sweat. And now you've moved on to very successful legacy PR events. It's just a very cool thing. And I applaud you.
Thank you. I can tell you,
what?
We were
so close to getting out of here, Chase.
What's the story? Yeah. The moment of like, I need to start my own business. The moment standing at the copier at the Titans organization, and I look at my phone, it's a New York number, and I was one of the league liaisons for the team. So I'm thinking, okay, answered my cell phone, and on the other end was, hey, Tresa, my name is Chad Pennington. You don't know me. And I'm thinking, I said, Chad, like New York Jets Chad? And he said, yeah, I'm calling to see if you can help me with a charity event. And I said, Chad, you have a community relations person at the Jets. You have one of me at your team. No, I really don't. Not the way that you've been described to me. I know that you will really take care of what I need. And can you help me? And so I said, how did you get my number? And it was, athletes that go to other teams. And so it was Justin McCarron's sitting in the locker room, and Chad was talking about, oh my gosh, I really have this event in my hometown and I need help. And he's like, you got to call Tresa. So he called me. And at that point in time, that was sort of an aha moment for me. It was like, okay, when I've got athletes calling me that have never met me from other teams to help them, now I need to do something.
Well, that's your reputation.
I thought Jeremy Rice gave me your number. You never know, huh? Well, Tresa, congratulations. May God bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace and all your great leadership and the years ahead.
Thank you so much. It's been a blessing to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the Second Cup of Joe and John. Please play.
It's the Second Cup of Joe and John as their guests expound on any and all topics within the realm of decency. Want to be a sponsor? Let a TV and radio guy help build your business. Email the show, secondcupofjoeandjohn@gmail.com. Now, hold on tight and grab another Second Cup of Joe and John.